Thanks, Riaz. Good morning. More gun violence has been reported in the Lower Mainland. The latest last night in Burnaby. Gunshots rang out at the Old Orchard Shopping Plaza at Kingsway and Willingdon Avenue. One person was taken to hospital with minor injuries. A suspect has been arrested. Police tape was up for several hours overnight while officers combed the scene for evidence. Investigators believe it was a targeted attack. 4 men are facing charges in connection with a homicide in North Vancouver. RCMP were responding to an alleged kidnapping on Tuesday morning when they found the body of an unidentified man along a residential road in Lynn Valley. 4 men between the ages of 18 and 23 are facing several charges, including kidnapping and committing an indignity to a body. But none of them are charged with murder.
It's a really complex investigation. We have so many different areas to cover off that at this point we're being very protective of the investigation so that we can do the best possible investigation that we can.
Richmond RCMP have released a composite sketch of a suspect accused of sexually assaulting a high school student while she was walking to class near R.C. Palmer Secondary School. Officers say the teen was groped early Tuesday morning. The man is also believed to have exposed himself before running away. The suspect is described as a white man, possibly in his 40s, with a medium build, bushy eyebrows, and dark hair. He was last seen wearing dark pants, a dark hoodie, and a toque. 24 suites have been damaged and several people remain out of their homes in Surrey this morning, just one day after fire ripped through an apartment complex in Whalley. Flames were first spotted shooting through a 5-story building near King George Boulevard and 108th Avenue around 5:30 yesterday morning. Firefighters worked tirelessly to control the blaze and had to rescue at least one person from their balcony. Luckily, no one was injured. The cause is still under investigation. Emergency crews say the blaze was incredibly stubborn.
We have vaulted ceilings on the top floor, and once any fire gets into a void, it finds its way out any way it can, and it'll jump from suite to suite through the attic space. And the challenge is we're chasing it. So we have to try to intercept it at some point, and we did intercept it before it spread to any further suites, but it's a challenge as it mushrooms through that existing void space.
Several challenges aimed at overturning the federal government's approval of the Northern Gateway Pipeline project will be heard starting this morning at the Federal Court of Appeal in downtown Vancouver. 8 First Nations, 4 environmental organizations, and 1 labor union will be involved in the hearings over a 6-day stretch. They're arguing the federal panel that reviewed the project didn't adequately consider threats to wildlife and oceans. They also believe key issues of concern to First Nations have been excluded. A renowned Canadian economist has a message for parties headed to the federal election. He says it's time Ottawa take the lead and put a tax on carbon emissions.
I think we really got to move on the carbon front. I think we've really been behind that because we've been mistakenly believed that the oil sands was the engine of economic growth, and I think we're finding that that's certainly no longer the case.
Jeff Rubin says with today's oil prices, expansion of the oil sands is no longer commercially viable. He expects further weakness in the oil economy. Rubin says with the falling dollar, other industries like manufacturing are more likely to drive the Canadian economy.
With the collapse in oil prices, with the contraction that we're seeing in investment in the oil sands, we've seen the Canadian dollar drop to 75 cents. I think we're going to see a 70-cent Canadian dollar, and I think a 70-cent Canadian dollar is going to bring back to life a lot of industries that have really labored under the high currency of the last decade.
U.S. politics now. The frontrunner in the race to be the Republican candidate for the U.S. presidency continues to stir up controversy. Donald Trump held a campaign event in New Hampshire yesterday. He criticized President Barack Obama, saying he looked junior varsity next to Russian President Vladimir Putin at the United Nations earlier this week. Trump also said if he's elected, he has plans for all of the Syrian refugees in the United States.
I'm putting the people on notice that are coming here from Syria as part of this mass migration, that if I win, they're going back. They're going back. I'm telling you, they're going back.